2014 sample paper, paper 2, question 1. This is an area of volume question. The first part of this is asking us to find the ground covered by the tunnel. So we're talking about this section here, the flat ground that's covered up. So on the diagram at the bottom, we note key things. The hoops are 2 meters apart, so each of those gaps there are 2 meters apart. So we have a length of 8, and the radius of these hoops are 2, so the diameter of a semicircle is 4. So the area is length by width, which is 8 by 4, which is 32, and it's in meters, so area is meters squared. Part 2, we're asked to work out the length of metal that's been used for this entire frame. So there's two things. We know that the ridge, the sort of spine, is 8, but what we need to know is what the length of each of the hoops are. So the semicircular hoop is half of a circle. It's half of the circumference of a circle. Circumference of a circle, as you should know, and is also in the Formula and Tables book, is 2 pi r. So that reduces down to pi r, which works out with a radius of 2 as being 2 pi. Okay, so there's 5 hoops, so there's 5 lots of 2 pi, and we have to add on the spine, which is 8. So that gives us a total length of 10 pi plus 8, which works out as 39.42, correct 2 decimal places, and that is in meters. Moving on to part 3, we're asked about the polythene that covers the frame and how much is going to be used. So we have to imagine this rectangle of polythene being put over the frame and tucked in at various different places, and also buried into the ground by 25 centimeters. Now 25 centimeters, just remember, don't mix up your units, so that's 0.25 meters, a quarter of a meter, in every single direction around the edges, okay, into the ground. So we know how much the length of one arc is. That's 2 pi. So in terms of a width, we're looking at 2 pi, and either end we're adding on 25 centimeters. So the arc width, I suppose, is going to be 2 pi plus at either end you're adding on 0.25. So that's 2 pi plus 0.5. Now for the length, so we not only have the spine, the length of the spine, but we also have 2 meters down at one end and 2 meters down at the other end. So the length is going to be 2 plus 8 plus 2, but we also have to include the buried section at either end of 0.25, and so there we have an answer of 12.5 meters. And we can fill those values in at the bottom. The 2 pi plus 0.5 two decimal places is 6.78 meters, and the area, that's just length by width. So if we multiply those two dimensions together, we get an answer of 84.75. It's an area, 2 dimensions, so it's meters squared. Moving on to part 4 over the page, we're asked for the volume of air in the tunnel. So if you remember, this is a semicircular prism, and so it's half a cylinder, so we're going to do half of pi r squared h. So the radius was 2, the length of it, as the height of the cylinder as such, is 8. So we want half of pi times 2 squared times by 8, which is 16 pi, which to 2 decimal places is 50.27 meters cubed. Don't forget, volume is a 3-dimensional measurement, so it's meters cubed for your unit. Moving on to part 5, we have inside this tunnel, around the outside, obviously, of this diagram is the actual polytunnel frame, I suppose, where the hope's going across. And 20 centimetres in from that, the frame base, is this raised bed. So we have effectively a cuboid shape which has a height of 25 centimetres or 0.25 metres. Always make sure your measurements are in metres. So the length of this space is going to be 2 lots of 20 centimetres short of 8 metres long. So if we take 2 lots of 0.2 away from 8, we get 7.6 metres long. Similarly, for the width of it, we know it has a width of 4, and we're taking away from that 2 lots of 20 centimetres, so we get 3.6 metres. And so the volume of this cuboid is going to be those 3 dimensions multiplied together, length by width by height. And you're expected to know that formula off by heart. It's not in the formula book. And that's 6.84 meters cubed of earth. So we're asked to work out how much in cost this earth will take. So first of all, we need to work out how much this amount of earth, volume of earth, weighs, because the price is given per weight per ton, or should I say mass. Maybe that mass is going to be 6.84 lots of 0.75 tons, which works out as 5.13 tons, and the cost is €80 per ton. So it's €80 times by the mass of 5.13, which works out as 410.4 on the calculator. But don't forget to put your euro sort of currency unit, and money should always be 2 decimal places, so add that trailing naught in there. So €410.40.